Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for our advanced workshop series. Today, we're going to be focusing all about our PDF templates in Precise FP. My name is Courtney Peak. I'm the head of support here at Precise FP. A little housekeeping before we do get started today. Everyone is on mute, but if you have any questions, go ahead and put those right in the GoToWebinar control panel. We should have some time at the end of the webinar to go ahead and have a Q&A session. We're also recording this webinar, so it will be placed out on our YouTube channel as well as sent to everybody about an hour after the webinar wraps, just so you can watch it again as needed. All right, so before we get started, I also wanted to just kind of note the difference between what we now have in version 6.0 of Precise FP as form templates and PDF templates. So form templates are your standard Precise FP templates for data gathering. Those can be installed from the library or created manually in the My Templates section. Form templates can include various field types to collect and show information. That could be images, videos, buttons, or they can include those and the form template editor lets you customize the templates to match your needs. So these are going to be perfect for things like fact finders, questionnaires, surveys, lead gen forms. So those are form templates. Now, what we're going to be focusing on today, and I'm going to switch my screen over in just a moment, but our topic of discussion today is going to be all about PDF templates. Now, PDF templates are Precise FP's version of a fillable PDF. So they will require a PDF document where you can then create several different field types. And these fields will then be filled with information and merged together with the PDF document. So PDF templates can also include electronic signatures too. And you can install PDF templates from the PDF template library and also create your own in the My Templates section. So these are going to be perfect for things like custodial forms, agreements, policies, things like that. So I just wanted to, again, just kind of talk about the differences between those two. And we're going to, again, deep dive into just the PDF templates today. So let me go ahead and switch my screen over to the Precise FP dashboard. Now, version 6.0 is going to be going live tomorrow, September 1st, 2021. So when you log in, this is what you are going to see. You're not going to have the button where you click to 6.0. Everybody's just going to be in 6.0. So what I first like to start with is I do like to start with showing the library. So when you go to templates, you'll now see, again, form templates and PDF templates. So again, we're going to be focusing just on PDF templates today. So we have broken up the library into both form library and PDF library. So the PDF library, this is going to be where you're going to find the custodial forms. So like the Schwab forms and the TD forms and the SSG and Pershing forms. So you'll be able to come out here and actually click on any one of these and click on install template. And then that will be something that you'll have available under what we call My Templates under PDF templates. So with these custodial forms, this is something that hasn't changed, but you cannot customize the PDF templates for the custodians, except for a few minor things. If you remember in 5.0, we had the configure button on the actual PDF, where if you installed it from the library, you could go out there and put like your RA number or your advisor number, all of that. So to do that in the version 6.0, what you'll do is basically after you've installed the custodial template, you'll now go to My Templates, and what you'll do is you'll click on the custodial form, and then you'll see this map button here. So click on that, and then you'll see everything that's already there and already mapped in regards to a fillable field. But like in these fields here, like for this TD form here. It's got like advisor code. So you can click on it and you can put a default value here so that this value is displayed in this particular field on this particular form every time you send it out. Just makes it so you don't have to pre-fill that out every single time you prepare it. This will take care of that for you. So you can go out there and you can put a default value in areas like that where you may need to do that. Now the rest of this, as far as like the mapping, that's already done for you. You do not have to do anything further with that. And what we mean by mapping is we mean that with these forms, you can actually have, and what will happen is if you go to prepare a PDF for someone in, before I get into that, something new in 6.0 is now you can actually engage with up to 5 PDFs at a time, which I'll show you how to do that too. But same as before in version 5.0, when you do that PDF mapping, which we have already done here, it takes data that you already have on file for the client and it will pre-fill into this PDF for you. So with things like TD and Schwab, they do make use of DocuSign, so you can enable DocuSign in PreciseFP. And I'll go through that whole process of what it looks like of preparing a form for someone using both DocuSign as well as with our own signature option. So you can come out here and you can actually create your own, upload your own PDFs too. I'm going to go through all of that. So I wanted to just, again, focus on the library first, just to show you again, this is where you'll be able to now find the custodial forms that we have. And part of 6.0 going live is actually going to be some more custodial forms. So we're very excited about that. Our dev team has been working tirelessly getting this library updated for you. So 6.0 will have more forms in the library for you. Now let's go ahead and talk about if we want to create our own PDF template. All that you will need is you will just need a PDF. Fillable PDF is something that you can certainly use. Now, what I have done here is I have actually created one. I've uploaded my own PDF. I use this payment plan agreement, but it's very easy to come out here and create your own under My Templates. It's just a matter of coming up here and clicking on the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner. You have to have a thumbnail image for it. Here's where you'll select your PDF, give the PDF a name, a description, and then a category. Now, if you are using something like a Schwab form or a Pershing form or a TD form, what you can do is after you choose the category here, what you can do is you can actually go into, I'll show you here. Let me go here and then, actually, no, I apologize. I went the wrong way. But basically what you can do, I've got the wrong one. Here we go. Sorry. This is one that I've actually uploaded myself. I just created it my own. I just grabbed TD's IRA account opening form. We already have this in the library, but I at least wanted to show you this little kind of best practice thing here is if you are uploading a TD form or a Schwab form that we don't have in the library, you can come out here and you can, once you've uploaded it, you can click on customize and you'll see this details button here. Click on that and make sure that you choose here provider, either TD or Pershing. Fidelity is going to be hopefully coming soon too, Schwab. And what happens is it will actually create the signature process for the TD workflow. And I'm going to show you all of that, but that's just something that will, you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment when I create this for someone. So let's go in and let's create our own PDF template here in PreciseFP. So I've actually already done that. I've uploaded a PDF of mine that I have. Nope, that's not it. It's this one right here. I'm going to go into customize. Now, when you upload your own, instead of having that map button like we saw on the custodial ones, you'll now have this customize button. And again, you can't customize the already existing custodial forms, but so you'll have a different button when you actually upload your own. So in this case, that's exactly what I've done here. I've uploaded my own and I'm going to go into customize, and this takes me into the template editor for this PDF. So It will display all of the pages of my PDF here. I can click on whatever page over here on the right-hand side. Now, what I want to show you now is I want to show you how to do the mapping, right? So taking something as simple as like the first name of your client and mapping it to a field in your actual PDF will make it so that as long as you have your client's first name on file, which more than likely you do, that mapping will make it so that that first name field is going to fill out every time for every specific client that you create this PDF for. So as long as you've got their first name on file, that first name will actually come through and fill out into that particular field that you have mapped on the PDF. Now, this is actually a great example of a PDF that I don't have any fillable fields on. So we do recommend getting a fillable field, but this one, what you can do is you can actually click on the plus sign and add a new field. So let's say I want to take right here in this client spot here, and I want to pre-fill it with my client's name. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on where it says new field at the top right there. And what I want to do in this case is I'm going to create a text field. Now, what I need to do here is I do need to create a field group and name. So what this is going to do, the benefit of this is it's going to connect it to what we call people in PreciseFP. So the benefit of this is so that information that, again, may already be on file for your client within these specific fields can pre-fill out when you prepare your PDF engagement for your client. So the fields in a PDF template may be pre-filled with personal and contact information from, again, persons within a client or prospect profile. So persons would be the client, the co-client, all children, and all other family members are going to be available as a person. As of right now, only default personal and contact information is available to be connected to a PDF field. So that's going to be information that includes like name, gender, birth date, marital status, citizenship, email, phones, address, and some employment information. As we progress with 6.0, there's going to be more available mapping to come. And if you are watching this at a later time, check back for videos about that. We will make sure that we have a video about that as well. So what I'm going to do here, in order for the system to know which fields in a PDF template belong to the same person, we first need to group them together. So this is achieved by selecting the same group for all fields that should be filled in with information of the same person. So for example, if your PDF template collects information for an account owner and 3 beneficiaries, you should make sure that all fields from the account owner are under the group account owner, and that all fields for each beneficiary are under the group beneficiary 1, and then beneficiary 2, and then beneficiary 3. So once a field is under the correct group and has a name that you can easily identify, you're then going to be able to select what data point from the profile should be used to pre-fill it using the connection dropdown. This is all going to make sense when we go to create this PDF template as an engagement for a specific client. So here I am going to create first a field group. So I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to give the group a name, and I'm going to call this client info. And I'm going to give the field a name. So I'm just going to say client first name. Now what I can do here is I can make a connection to the first name field for persons. That way, when I go to prepare this PDF engagement for someone, it will show me a drop down on the PDF details, and I can choose from either the client, the co-client, or if there's children on file or other family members, those will pull in too. Again, it'll all make sense once we go and we prepare this PDF for a specific client. Now I can choose to make the field mandatory here if I want to, and I've got some other customization options here, but just to simplify things, I am just going to simply create this field. So it places it kind of in the middle of the page, but it's just a matter of clicking, dragging, and positioning it, and then you can also resize it, as you can see there too. So that's that one. Now let's create another one here for the address. Now you can see that the address is broken up with the street address, city, and state. So let's go ahead and add a new field. And in this case, what we want to do is I am going to select the text field. So I'm going to choose the same client info group that I just created. But now what I'm going to give this field, I have to create a different field name for it. So I'm going to use client address. I'm going to choose my connection. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate the address. And you'll see that we have the address broken up here. So I'm going to do this one right here, create. Let's move that over here. And then I'm going to create another one. I'm going to create another text field. I'm going to choose my client info group because this is, again, still pertaining to my client. I'm going to give the field a name, client city, and I'm going to choose my connection to be address city. Create that, and let's move that over here, kind of reposition that a bit. And then finally, the state. So let's do a state field. Let's do a text field, choose our group that we created, and we'll call this client state. We'll make the connection to the address state, click on create, and we'll move that over here and just kind of reposition that. Now up here, you'll see it's asking for information about the service provider. So in that case, it's about, me as the advisor and my firm. So let's go ahead and create a field for that. So we can do, in this case, we'll create a new group and we'll call it service provider so that we know, and we'll say name. Now what we can do is we also have a macro drop down here. So there are a few macros that you can use to auto-populate as well. So in this case, I'm going to use the macro for advisor's name. It'll put the default value there for you with that macro. So again, I'll just create that and let's move that up here, kind of reposition it, resize it to within the field. And then we can also continue on with the service provider's address. So there's macros in there too. Now, as you can see here on this term, we've got another set of fields here, check boxes. So to create a checkbox on your PDF, if it's not already a fillable PDF, if you may have seen up here, we click on the plus sign. We also have a checkbox field. So in this case, I'm going to choose that. And just to, again, rename, I have to create a field group and name. I'm actually going to do a new group for this, and I'm going to call this term. And I'm going to call this, well, let's see, term check 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on create. It creates a tiny little checkbox, and then you just have to move that over here. I could have also called that maybe at will or what have you, but then I would just kind of keep going. And again, choose term. I'll call this one end date just so it makes more sense. Move that little checkbox over here, and now we've got a checkbox for that one, and then I can kind of keep going. So in this case, with this one, we've got also an other spot here. So what I would do for that is I would, again, create a checkbox for term, call the field other, and let's move that down here. And then let's also create a text field for that other spot here. We'll put that under term and we'll say other text, just so we know. Let's move that here. in here. So this, again, if you already have a fillable PDF, you won't have to come out here and create these fields. They will already be here, and it's just a matter of going out there, and if you have fields like for the client, it's just a matter of creating that connection to the client. But as you can see, there's other types of fields that you can lay down, like you can do a number field, a phone, a date. If you need to attach a document upload, for like our TD forms that are doing account transfers, there's a document upload field on it where you can attach the statement. So if you need to do something like that, that's what the document upload would be for. An email field, a currency field, and then we talked about the checkbox field. Now let's talk about the e-signature fields. Now on this form, I do have a spot for the client's signature as well as the service provider's signature. Now with the PDFs, you do have the ability to actually have custom signers. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating signature spots for the client as well as this spot here for the service providers. So let's go ahead and create a new field. And in this case, I'm going to first start off because it's asking for the signature first. I'm going to click under e-signature fields, the signature. Now I am going to create a new group for this because this is going to allow me to select who the signer is for this specific spot. So I'm going to do new group. I'm going to call this client signature and client sign, just so I know what I'm asking. Now you can, when you are laying down a signature field, you can choose typing and drawing, drawing only, or just typing. And this is only going to come into play if you're using PreciseFP as your service provider. If you're using DocuSign, it bypasses this. So this is just strictly for using PreciseFP's signature there. So let's go ahead and create that. Now, signature elements are going to be this golden yellow color, whereas a fillable field is blue, like we saw before. So that's something to note. So a fillable field with data is going to be blue. A signature field is going to be this orangish, goldish color here. Now let's also create a date field. So under e-signature fields, we have this signed date. So I'm going to, again, select the client signature group that I created, and I'm just going to call this signed date. And I can choose the format of the date and all of that, but I'm just going to go ahead and click on create there. And then this will auto-populate with the date that the signature was placed. Oops. Cancel that. Let's resize this a bit. There we go. And then lastly, the signer name, which prints the name of the person who signed. So I'm going to choose that same client signature group, and I'm just going to call this print name. And I'm going to move that down here. Now let's also create a signature for the service provider. So let's go out here and click on the plus sign again. Let's do signature. Now I'm going to create a new group for this, and I'm going to call this service provider signature. And then in the name of the field, I'm just going to say service provider sign and click on create. And let's move that down here, just like that. And we'll do a date field for it as well. Again, select that service provider signature group that we created, and we'll do sign date SP for service provider, just to keep it, again, so we know whose is whose. And then lastly, we'll do a signer name. So we'll do the service provider signature group, and we'll just do print name, SP print name, and then move that down here. Now you may have saw that there is also an initial spot too. So that is something that you can also create, is an initials field as well. So now that may have been confusing, but I think when I actually prepare this for someone, I think this is all going to make sense for you, and why I had to do that sort of logic with the groups and the fields and how it's all going to come together. So let's go ahead, and I've got this payment plan agreement. Actually, I've got, let me rename this because I do have another one that's a different version of it that's called the same thing. So I'm just going to give that a different name there. So let's go and now let's prepare this PDF for a specific client of mine. So I'm going to select my clients and I'm going to select engage with a PDF. Now it does show you your top 5 recently used, top 5 recently updated, and then you can also do a search for the PDF. Now keep in mind, you can engage with up to 5 PDF templates. Now, something to note here. This is something that's pretty important. When you are engaging with more than one PDF, they must have the same type of e-signature process. So what I mean by that is you cannot have one for DocuSign and one with PreciseFP's e-signature, especially when it comes to the custodial forms. If you do this, all will go out via DocuSign. So the solution here would be send the ones for DocuSign, which again, you can do up to 5 at a time, and then come back and create another PDF engagement for the others. So the example that I'm going to do now is that payment plan agreement that we just worked on. That I'm going to do using PreciseFP's e-signature, and then I will also do one for DocuSign so you can see how both look and feel. So I'm going to choose this form that we just did here, and I'm going to click on continue. Now you remember when I was creating the fields on the PDF, those fillable fields, right, for the client, you remember I created the group called client info, right? And I tied that to the persons, remember? So now what it's asking me is to select the person for that client info spot. So in this case, my clients are Emily and Brandon. They're the client and the co-client. They also have 2 children on file as well as a revocable trust. So they've added on like a fact finder their children as well as their trust under their account. So these are the persons that I'm able to select for this particular client of mine to go into that client info spot that we have mapped on our PDF. So in this case, I'm just going to choose Emily. I'm going to click on continue. Now here is where those other grouping comes in. It's for the signatures. So you recall when I was creating the group and the field names for the client's signature, as well as the service provider signature, remember? So what I'm doing for the client's signature, because I created that mapping for that group, remember on the signature page, I'm going to choose who, in this case, the client's signature should be in that particular spot. So in this case, I'm just going to, again, choose Emily. And it does populate her name and her email address and her mobile number. I can choose the authentication method that I want to provide for the actual e-signature here. So in this case, just to keep it simple, I am going to choose email only. Now you also have the option to choose the e-signature provider right here before you prepare and send out the documentation. In this example, I am just going to choose PreciseFP. You do have to have DocuSign enabled in the integrations in order for DocuSign to be an option for you. Now I also have the option, remember we created the group for the service provider signature on our signature page. So I can choose, in this case, I am the advisor. So that's how it appears, your name there, you, or I can do a custom signer here. And I would just need to enter in their first name, their last name, their email address, and their mobile number. Something to keep in mind here, folks. Double, triple, quadruple check that this information here is correct, because if you get to the next spot and you prepare and send out the documentation, there's no stopping it. Once it's done, you can't edit that information. So that's why I say it's very important at this spot when you're doing the signers, double, triple, quadruple check that first name, last name, email address, and mobile phone are current and correct. Because again, once you get to this next spot and after this here, you go and you send the documentation, you cannot change that. So just something to keep in mind there. All right, so now after we've done the signatures, you actually go into edit mode of the PDF. And this gives you a good idea. I didn't position these very well, so I apologize. But you can at least get a general sense for the information that we mapped to this PDF. So you remember here on the actual service provider section, I used a macro that pulls in my name as the advisor. And then here I just used the client name. I attached it to the first name for the persons. That is pulling in her first name. Probably should have used the full name for that, but again, no harm, no foul. And I probably should have repositioned this. But again, it just gives you an idea of the information that's already on file for my client that is pulling into this PDF so that I, as the advisor, don't have to come out here and fill out this information. You make use of the information that you already have on file. And then there's those check boxes that we created, if you recall, so I can either check or uncheck them. Here's the other box that I created, and I can come out here and put text out here, and I can go through, and as the advisor, when you're preparing these PDFs and you're going along and you're putting data into them, it auto saves for you. Now, again, I really want to go back to what I was first saying, between the difference of the form templates and the PDF templates. If your intention is to have the client fill out any of this information, a PDF template is not the way to go. The PDF templates are not going to be sent to your client for them to input data. The PDF template is only going to be sent to your client for them to sign, nothing more. So if you're needing your client to give you data, you need to create a form template instead. So again, that's going to be something like a fact finder, a questionnaire, what have you. It can request any type of data that you want. But again, if your goal is to have them fill out data, you need to have it as a form template. And then if you're needing them to sign the document, then you would create it as a PDF template. But in this case, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to click on finish. And again, you're just in the preview and edit mode here. It doesn't send it to the client just yet, but as you're going along and you're filling out information, it does, again, autosave for you. But when you're ready to send this over to the client, just click on the X in the upper right-hand corner and you'll be at this engagement details panel. Now, if you do need to go in and edit some more, you can click on the edit documents and go in and edit it. If you're ready to send this off, you can click on view signers and just double check to see who the signers are going to be of this documentation. You can choose a routing order if you want to. You can also customize the emails that accompany the actual PDF if you want to as well. But once you are ready to send this off, click on send documentation for e-signature, but only if you do not need to edit it anymore. The moment that you click on this, you're not going to be able to edit the documents any longer, and you're not going to be able to edit the signer and all of that. So definitely, again, double, triple, quadruple check your information, your documentation, all of that. So let's go ahead and fire this off. So we're going to go ahead and send that off for signature. So you will have this timeline on it when you do come out here and you go to engagements, and you can go to all engagements under PDF engagements. You can click on or see here that, the last activity, the status of it. You can come out here and click on it, and it will have a timeline too. So the moment that your client goes into it and signs, it will have an entry for every single thing along the way. So let me pause my screen here, and I'm actually going to come out here and just pull up as if I'm the client. So I'm just kind of switch my point of view from being the advisor to now being the client. So bear with me just a second here. I'm going to pull up a completely different browser. This is definitely something I would recommend if you were testing out this kind of process on yourself. Don't test these in the same browser that you're logged into Precise FP with. It gets confused when you're trying to act like the client as well as the advisor. So just something, a little help tip there. So what I did is, let me share my screen now. Oops, bear with me. Okay, so I'm acting as if I'm the client now. So you remember when I set up the authentication, I selected email, right? So this is what the client sees. What will happen is they will be sent a PIN to their email. Now this PIN is completely separate from the PIN that is on their profile. That is for something completely different. I'm going to be sent an entirely different PIN just for this PDF. So let me go ahead and, again, bear with me. I'm going to go to my email as if I'm the client. Here is my PIN that I got. I'm going to go out here and enter that PIN. Now I am verified. So now I, as the client, this is my point of view. I can see the information that's pre-filled out there. Again, my apologies for not placing those properly. But what will happen is I will, as the client, be able to come out here and place my signature. Now, if you recall, with Precise FP's e-signature, you can allow the client to either type or draw, or just type or just draw. So I did enable both. So it just puts their typed name there, or they can select draw and they can sign their name. And then the date will auto-populate, their name will auto-populate, and once they're done, they would simply click on finish. And then if there are more than one signer, then the document would then go to the next signer. So if you create a routing order, it would go to the next person in line. And then what will happen is you will get an email alert letting you know that, hey, your client is done. They have signed your PDF. So how do you view that? Well, a couple ways. So let's go ahead here and we'll go to engagements. All engagements. Now we can see that this engagement is completed. We can click on it. Again, our timeline here shows that our client accessed it, our client added her signature, and she completed the form. Now, what I can do is, as the advisor, I have the completed document here, the completed PDF under documents. I can click on that, and then what it does is it shows me the PDF of basically that filled out PDF and signed PDF and all of that. I also get this right here, the certificate of completion. So let me pull that up for you here. So this basically shows the timeline for you too. So it shows the IP address, the date and time that everything happened, who created it, who sent it, all of that. So that's something that you can have and download with it as well. Now, the client on their side, what they will get is they will get an email that looks something like this that says, all right, if you're ready to download the completed form, download the documentation, they would simply just click on that button, they get sent a new PIN, and they would be able to basically view and download this as well. So there's security in place for these PDFs. So, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So that is engaging with a PDF for Precise FP signature. Now let's go ahead and engage this client with a, let's just do a TD form. So let's go engage with a PDF. And let's choose a couple of them, because again, you can choose up to 5 PDFs that you want to send out. Actually, let me go back here. Let me go to my library and let's do Schwab forms. Let me install these. And let me do one more because I want to show you how you can actually do up to 5. So I'll just do another one. Let me do the Schwab account app. Okay, there we go. Now let me go to my clients again. Click on their name, click on engage with the PDF, and let me choose the account application and the account transfer, and then I could choose up to 3 more if I wanted to. So let's go ahead and continue here. So here I am filling out information on the account application. Who is the account owner? I'm going to choose that. Who's the trusted contact? Choose that. There's a successor custodian. I can choose that as well. We're going to click on continue. So with Schwab, what happens here is they only accept DocuSign for signature, as does TD. So there is no other option to select for e-signature provider. So in this case, the DocuSign workflow is what is going to be the end-all be-all for this. So here we are selecting signers for the Schwab One account application and signers for the account transfer. So in this case, I'm just selecting Emily as the account owner. If there's other signers, I can go ahead and fill out there, and then I can choose who the signer is for, in this case, the account transfer. So we'll click on continue, and then, excuse me, what it does is you're going to see that, okay, we've got the account application and one other document. Now, this one is a great example of one that's going to be pre-filled out as well, because it has all of that mapping done to it. And then you can go out as the advisor and continue to fill out the rest of the PDF. If there is mandatory fields, what will happen is they'll be marked as red, and it will not, it'll have a pop-up message for you that won't allow you to move forward until it's filled out. So reducing NIGO in every way, shape, or form. So there you can see some of the information. It's filled out already that I have on file for my clients. There's the trusted contact there. So then if we're done here, which here's that message that you'll see, there are missing or invalid fields. Are you sure you want to continue? Nope, it takes you back and you got to fill those out. I'm going to go ahead and just, for the demo, bypass that. Now I'm on the account transfer. So here I can go out and I can fill out the rest of this information here. Click on finish. Again, it'll tell you I'm missing a bunch of fields. I am just going to go ahead and bypass that. But as you're going along and you're filling it out, like I was mentioning before, it does auto save for you in those PDFs. When you're ready to have this go out and be signed, again, you can view your signers, click on send documentation for e-signature, and then what happens is those PDFs will go and create an envelope in DocuSign for you, and then the client will then get that envelope. They'll go through and sign all of those documents, and then if you get your DocuSign account approved with Schwab, then what will happen is those documents would then auto forward over to Schwab for you. And that's how it works with TD as well. With those TD forms, you prepare the TD applications and all of that. Excuse me. And then what happens is same thing. Once you click on send documentation, it sends it over to DocuSign. It creates an envelope, sends that over to the client for signature. The client signs. And then what happens from there is those forms, attachments, anything, that all goes over to TD for you for processing. So there's some automation there. All right, so that is PDF templates. I saw a lot of questions come through, so I'm going to go ahead and just pause here and let me go ahead and pull up the questions. So now's a great time to just kind of open it up for questions. So if you want to go over anything, see anything again, put it in that GoToWebinar control panel. I'd be happy to do that. So let's go ahead and go through these questions here. All right. Somebody asked, does PreciseFP allow us to require a hand-drawn signature for every signature field? So yes, when you're laying down that signature element, as you saw, you do have the option to choose just draw. So you are in full control of that when you're using PreciseFP's signature option. For things like the custodial forms, they, like I know with SSG, and Pershing, they require that PreciseFP signature be set to only allow drawing, no typing. So that's already auto set on those custodial forms for you. Our custodian requires this and rejects forms with type signatures. So yeah, to answer your question, absolutely, you have the option to set it to drawing only. Does the field mapping work for the client's children? For example, clients often want to designate, IRA beneficiaries. Yes, absolutely. So that is that person's. As long as you map it to a person, as long as they have their children on file, as you saw in my example when I was going to prepare the PDF, the children were an option for me to put out there. And if I create a beneficiary group, I am able to select them as a beneficiary in that specific spot. So yes, absolutely it does. Can the font on the filling be changed? I don't believe so, but let me double check on that. Let me go to customize. Let me go here. The font size can be changed. but that's it. The actual font itself is not something that can be changed on it. So just the font size there. Let's see, is the entire signature process skipped if using DocuSign, or do you just skip the steps of selecting draw and type for signature? Uh, yeah, so for when you're laying down the signature option, and yeah, if you select like typing only, it's going to override that when you're using DocuSign. So it'll just be whatever you have selected for DocuSign. So if in your DocuSign settings, that's what's going to be. That's what's going to happen on the signature page. So regardless of if you set the signature option to allow for, in this case, like with this one, we allowed the option for typing and drawing. And then when I go to prepare this and I select the signature provider as DocuSign, this goes out the window right here. This goes out the window because it's then going to be whatever you have set up in your settings for signature in DocuSign. Can you change text in the PDF document in PreciseFP, or do you need to upload a corrected document and start over identifying the fields? Great question. So that happens sometimes. You have like a custodial form and they may, change things, right? Same thing if you've got an uploaded PDF and some verbiage has changed. You can go up here to the PDF icon, click on this right here. And then what you can do here is you can actually, it's basically, we used to call it in 5.0, the ability to, what was the terminology we used? Replace underlying PDF, which is essentially what will happen when you do this. So you can essentially just get your updated PDF, right? And then you can come out here and you can select it and you can upload it again. And then what you can do here is you can, if you want to not replace the current field structure, so it leaves all of your mapping as is, you can leave that as no. So don't replace the current field structure. Or if it's a completely new form and you want to start over from scratch, you would mark that as yes. So to answer your question, you absolutely can replace that underlying PDF. It's just a matter of going into the template editor and click on the PDF icon in the upper right-hand corner. For the text fields, can only the advisor fill in the information during edit mode, or can the client enter any of this information? So again, going back to my original comments when I first started the webinar, the difference between form templates and PDF templates. If you are intending to have the client fill in any of this data that you may not have on file, this needs to be a form template, not a PDF template. The PDF template does not go to the client for them to input any data. The PDF template only goes to the client for them to sign and sign only. That is it. You can create a form template, have them give you all their contact information and things for the persons that I was mentioning earlier that can be mapped, and then have that mapped to a text field on your fillable PDF and have it filled out that way. But otherwise, no, this does not go to your client for them to input data. It is strictly just for them to sign. Okay. Do you have to have a DocuSign subscription as well as PreciseFP, or is it included? We do not include a DocuSign subscription. So we work with all subscription levels of the DocuSign offering. So if you have the free level or the enterprise, I forget their levels of service that they provide, but we work with all subscription levels of DocuSign. Now I know with like Schwab and TD, they require certain subscription levels, so you would have to reach out to them about that as far as which one you need to have. But yeah, you would have to have a DocuSign account as well as a PreciseFP account. All right, is there a way so that custodial forms do not automatically go to Schwab once they are assigned to DocuSign? So in that case, if you do enable the DocuSign integration in PreciseFP and you and you go through the signature process with PreciseFP, you do have to get your DocuSign account approved in order for the automation to happen automatically with Schwab currently. Now, another alternative that you can do is when you go to, let me go back to one of my clients here, bear with me, is, and we did have this in 5.02, it's just a different kind of path to go to, but so what I can do here is instead of capture e-signatures, I can just say no. And what it does is it basically allows you to kind of just do the PDF, and you can download the PDF after it's done, and you can manually upload that into DocuSign. With our, again, our how it works, kind of that automation with Schwab and getting your Schwab DocuSign or getting your DocuSign approved with Schwab, it would have that automation, but you don't have to necessarily go that path if you don't want to. Somebody asked, can the advisor overwrite information in a connected field? For instance, if the advisor notices the client address stored in PreciseFP is incorrect. Yeah, so when you go back, let me go again to a client of mine, and let me, here it is. Let me engage them with this and go in here and just fill this out. And bear with me a second. Let me get to the edit mode of the PDF. And so for example, I already have this filled out, right? I've got this address field filled out because this is the address that's showing on file, right? So what I can do is, yeah, I absolutely, as the advisor, I can come out here and I can type in a new address. And as I go along and move about this, it does autosave for me. So absolutely, you have the ability to do that. You can overwrite that information. Oh wait, so I would have to fill in a checkbox and not the client. I'm sorry, I don't know what that was piggybacking off of. I think, I apologize. Could you ask the question again? I'm not sure what that was piggybacking off of. I apologize. I was just kind of, I didn't look at the names of the question. I apologize. I'm not sure what you're asking for, but if you're asking if as far as like filling out data on the PDF, if that's what you're asking, like if you're checking a box and things like that, like I have this checkbox here, yes, you would be doing this, not the client. The PDF template does not go to the client for them to input data on. The PDF template only goes to the client for them to sign. So if you have a fillable spot and it's a checkbox or it's a text field or a currency field, yes, you would be inputting this information, not the client. Oh, that was it. Oh, okay, perfect. All right, somebody also asked, do your CRM integrations like Salesforce allow capturing data from the client, such as an intake form, and then updating fields in the CRM directly from this client entered form data? Does your CRM integrations like Salesforce allow capturing data from the client in intake form? So yes, that would be something maybe like on a fact finder where the client can go through and input data on the fact finder, and that information can then be exported over to the CRM and update information there. And then that information, if you have it mapped to a fillable PDF like this, it would also pre-fill in here into the actual form. Now, because again, the client is not going to be entering any data onto the PDF, there's no chances for them to change that, right? Because they are just getting this PDF to sign. So I hope that answered your question. I saw your question there. Let's see, can the signed PDF and certificate be downloaded as a single document? Great question. I don't believe that they are. I believe it is separate documents. Yeah, it does. When you click on each one, it downloads them as separate documents. So yeah, to answer your question, that is something that would download separate documents. We, again, like I was mentioning before, we are going live with 6.0 tomorrow, and we will be releasing more TD and more Schwab and SSG forms in the library. So you'll be able to go out there and go to templates, PDF library. Today you can see what's out there. Tomorrow you're going to be able to see the rest of them that are out there. So definitely check back tomorrow on 6.0. Everybody's going to be on 6.0, so you can definitely check those out tomorrow. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're always happy to help. Myself, my staff, we're there in the chat Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can also email our support, but chat is definitely the best way to reach us. We'll go ahead and wrap the webinar here. I appreciate all of the questions. But again, if any additional questions come up afterwards, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us right in the dashboard by clicking on the chat icon. You can also reach us on our website. Click on that chat icon there, and we're always happy to help. But thank you all so much for attending today. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.